Right, welcome gents and Vars here. In this video we're going to continue playing this Dungeons and Dragons game, which I played for like 2 hours yesterday, and the recording didn't catch my voice, the microphone was not turned on, so I'm gonna replay it in a completely different direction. I'm gonna catch up what happened in session 0, where our characters were at Neverwinter City in the Magic Academy, and someone in the Neverwinter City brought a magical and powerful orb that opens a portal to another dimensional realm. What we know, and I made everything bigger in the UI so you can more easily read what I see, is what we know is that the Academy is split in 2 families or factions, the Red Wizards of Thay and the Arcane Brotherhood, who are currently in a state of blaming each other for who brought this up. What we have is the Iris Orb. This is the magical orb that's currently protected, and our characters are gonna explore the other side of the realm for the first contact ever. What we know is that a wizard called Haldor, or an over-wizard, was the first one to have written about such orb even before any of this was discovered. And when this happened, everybody went looking for Haldor, but it turned out he was not anywhere. So based on some of his notes, it's likely that he got lost in the realm of the Iris Orb. So we also know that a wizard called Ilona Maihal was murdered by a vampire-like drow or creature. Don't know if this was real or accurate, but it was the first ever contact with someone from the other side. So we know some creatures exist on the other side, some life forms, and we also have this in consideration. But this is also a point. So with the protagonists, we've got 3 of them. We've got Nazar, he's the sorcerer that was invoked and summoned to do this mission and exploration. He is the son of a paladin of Helm, which is very controversial because his father is a paladin, and having a son that's also a sorcerer with dragon blood is not a light thing. So he has a dark past. We will explore that probably later. But yes, his father is the one actually who summoned him to participate in this first ever exploration of an outer side dimension. So then Dungeons and Dragons meets Numenera is the kind of game we're gonna be playing. With him, we will have Salazar. He's a Neverwinter City watch. He was also once part of the military forces, and he's going to protect the party in this expedition. His past is also quite interesting, but we're going to explore that later. He's a strong soldier, and he volunteered as the last thing he would want to do. Finally, we've got Kaelin. She is a druid high elf from the outskirts of Neverwinter, somewhere around the Sword Coast, and she heard of this orb in Elvish lore. So when this happened, she was somehow offering herself to explore this orb at the Neverwinter's Academy, and she was observed by Lord Yaden, the over-wizard in charge of the Academy, so she would be a welcome asset in this expedition as she has magic qualifications in druidic magic. With that said, that's a party. It will all begin as they traverse this orb into this other dimension. Let's get going. Here we are going to start our first scenes with Plot and Folding Machine. So first we're gonna have Nazar approaching this orb, and this portal opens toward him, and he, as we said in the first session, would be feeling welcome to cross by, unlike other wizards who tried to approach the orb, which shrank or actually gave an instability feeling. For Nazar, the orb would be more welcoming. So the party is following him. Perhaps this has to do with the fact that he has dragon blood, or he's a sorcerer. We will figure that out later. But he will be welcoming. We also have in the pending questions the main thing we want to answer in this game. Where is Holdar, the Overwizard? Why did he leave, or where is he? Is this intradimensional world set in the future? This was also some of the hypotheses we have. Does the other side want to attack us? Are we safe? What happened to Ilona after her death? That was the murdered wizard in the first contact with the orb. And then who opened the portal and why? So everybody wants to know, like, why is this orb here? And why is it opening now and not before? And what is the meaning of it? So quite of a first contact. The wizards are all baffled. So we've got level 1 characters getting into the action. Let's describe a little bit how... let's get an insight. So what do we feel? What is the impression we have for this traveling? So let's go for insight. We've got recognize something familiar. And let's get some looks. It's majestic and romantic or loving. So as the characters go through this portal, the transition is definitely not smooth. All of the characters see and feel memories of their childhood, different times of their lives. Nazar would see himself being raised in the temple as his father served the Helm Temple, and he would have good and bad memories, as if this portal is kind of bringing vibes of the past. Salazar would see himself joining the Neverwinter Watch after he returned from one of the big expeditions towards the Luskan War that Neverwinter eventually lost. So as he came back from the war, he joined the Neverwinter Watch after Neverwinter's defeat. Finally, we've got Kaelin. Kaelin will be filled with questions and a long life of a high elf. She would be seeing different expressions of nature and different vibes of her learning path towards understanding the nature of... Yes, in a way she was exposed to a training of a hardship in her high elf family, and she saw flashes of this. So where does this transition take us? A place difficult to traverse or navigate. And we've got dangerous, but at the same time friendly or cozy. Actually, ignoring the second descriptor, I'm going to take it a difficult traverse or place, and it's also dangerous, meaning that the characters will appear somewhere in some lands where the ground is made of very soft sand with hidden holes that is crumbling among themselves, and it's hard to step in. First, Nazar is gonna arrive with Salazar, and a bit later Kaelin, and they're gonna to look for safety around them. Around you, what do you see? Let's get an insight. They smell an atmospheric hazard. The first thing they're gonna feel is actually the air. It feels like methane or some sort of metallic composure that of course they don't understand, but it feels heavy to breathe. They look to the side, and a few meters away, there seems to be some more stable ground on some grasslands, so they try to reach as they struggle. Let's roll for the first fortitude, or actually athletics roll. The difficulty is gonna be 10. So let's go. Nazar is gonna struggle a lot. Salazar is going to have no problems with it. And finally, Kaylin is also going to struggle. So they are all fighting against a sand ground that's very, very absorbing. They feel this pulling power grabbing their feet and trying to pull them under. They use their hands, but they are finding hard each time, every second, harder and harder. The stronger one, Salazar, arrives to the grassland shore and rapidly begins taking one of his ropes. He's got a rope, a long rope, to try to catch the others and give them a little bit of help. But they are almost with just their face up. Nazar is going to reach out for this rope. I think Salazar is going to prefer, or let's say go for Nazar first and pull him up. But Kaylin, she's going to submerge under the sand. What does Kaylin do? Let me take a look at her prepared spells. She can purify, she can detect magic. That isn't very helpful. Druidcraft as a cantrip. She can create one of following effect, like a tiny harmless sensory effect, make a flower blossom. She can create instantaneous harmless sensory effects such as falling leaves, puff of wind, sound of a small animal. Guidance, this is to touch a creature. So I think I'm gonna let her roll or use Druidcraft to make the sand slightly slower and stronger, so it isn't a very significant effect, but it's going to give her a chance to survive this. So I guess there's no target roll or anything, but we should do a willpower test to pull her maximum strength to far reach the limits of Druidcraft transmutation powers. So she's gonna roll a wisdom saving throw of difficulty 10. If she succeeds, she's gonna be able to pull a spell strong enough to give her some ground, and that is good. What I want to question is there anything under the sand? And it's a strong yes. So she's still pulling herself up. And let's see, there's some sort of creature that is going to have certain skills or a way of fighting. So I'm going to roll the fight skill table. It's a flying, swimming, jumping thing. So what is she's going to see as she's pulling herself from the sand, Salazar is helping Nazar, but Kaylin is pulling herself up with the help of her own magic. She's going to see a worm that is jumping from one side of the sand over her head to her left side. Everybody panics a little bit. Quickly, as soon as Nazar is out of danger, Salazar is going to extend the rope to Kaylin, and together with the rope and her druidic effects, magical effects in the sand that's way, way deeper than they thought, they're gonna pull off. Let's see. Now they are all in grasslands. They look behind to see if there is this huge worm that they saw jumping, and they said, let's get out of here right away. What else do they see around? I need some looks. They see lonely separate and loathing. So what they see is a very beautiful grassland area, with different creatures they never saw before, insect-like creatures and other wildlife that they never saw before in what seems to be a beautiful place of nature, but apparently dangerous because you saw that huge, horrible, gigantic worm behind them. So, however, it feels lonely. They feel in the middle of the wilderness. So they run to seek for something. Is the weather, how good is the weather? Let's go to how good is the weather. It's as expected, so they seem that the weather is like kind of sunny, but in this world, is there more than one sun? So they want to recognize how familiar is this world, right? Does it look like home in a way? The question is no. Is there more than one sun? No, but it doesn't look like home either. So they reach out for the glass rod, they try to make some distance away, and I'm gonna go for a random prompt to see what awaits us or what kind of situation we face. Lay out a skill challenge, okay? What's the challenge? Something relevant to be noticed. Alright, so there's something hiding somewhere. So all characters will have to roll for notice. I'm beginning with Nazar. I guess the difficulty is gonna be 10 or 12. 12 is the baseline, so let's see how hard is this roll. As expected, so yes, 12, that would make Nazar fail. Kaylin. Kaylin is gonna succeed. And Salazar is also going to succeed, so all but Nazar, both Salazar and Kaylin are going to notice something. The question is, what do we see, right? So this is a important question in plot unfolding machine, like it gives me something to notice, but what exactly? And this particular game is quite hard because we're exploring another dimension, so it's like rifts, anything could happen. So let's see. Let's go for an insight roll to see what the characters see. Atmospheric hazard. Okay, so what they see is this previous heavy air that they were breathing. Salazar and Kaylin begin noticing that there's something in the air that's hazardous and they should cover their faces. They instruct each other to do the same, and it begins really hard to hold this back and try to reduce the rate that they breathe. And so they're gonna roll at difficulty 10 fortitude before taking some sort of poison damage. So we are falling in an entirely hazardous alien dimension, or maybe another area of this world. Who knows if this portal travels in time, space, or whatever. So let's see. Constitution, difficulty 10. Kaylin does fine. Salazar does fine. And let's see, Nazar, who's been the weak one so far, also does fine. So they all reduce their amount of breath and they feel this toxin. They are not prepared for that, but they cover their faces with some leather and seek for shelter. In the distance, they're gonna see, what do I see there? Some sort of shelter, I guess. Let's describe. I want to have some shelter that they will eventually find. It's gonna look like circular. So they're gonna look like a circular building with, give me another adjective, please. A colorful, okay, with colorful, chromatic, cone style of roof. Does it look like it is from like, does it seem familiar in the sense it's like, is it normal? Is it a normal thing? Or how flashy is this? The answer is no, it's not normal. Let's go for a disruption check. No disruption. So they see this building with the chromatic floor that's conic in shape, and it has like a curved floor. It has multiple windows and it's reflecting light to the outside, and it's in the middle of these grasslands. The grasslands look like with huge pillars of stone and bodies of huge rocks, some alien form trees and plants, and they're just going to go over there. I'm gonna roll for a random prompt because I don't know what to expect. There's a place or refer to a thing to be found. Let's see, what thing can we find? I think we didn't have a very interesting list of things to be found, but we said technology, musical drones, other life forms, Holdar himself, or something else. So let's see. We've got musical drones. This was part of the session 0 that there were some writings about this intradimensional world where machines have seen flying that emit a certain hypnotizing music. So as they approach to this shelter building that has a very weird roof, and the air still feels heavy, there's no signs of anywhere outside. I'm gonna go for a modified proposal to see if there's something else added to what I'm saying. It says increase the intensity, tension, or drama. So as they approach this building from the very ground, an explosion raises at first. Grass everywhere and bushes and destroyed nature is replaced with a huge circular machine that starts floating and levitating. The characters stop for a while. Is it aware of us? Is it reacting to us? Apparently not. It's doing something on its own, just raising, levitating, and then it starts spinning around this building and remains at a constant speed. They look elsewhere. How does the air look like? A bit bluish? So there's some sort of a bluish atmosphere here, and maybe it explains this horrible or heavy smell. But they approach this building and try to look for doors. Are there any clear entrances? The answer is depends on the skill. So at first it looks like a very perfectly closed building with no apparent entrances, but it has some sort of windows that we are not sure if they are windows, but they're projecting strong lights to the outside. The characters look around. Do we see anything else other than wilderness? Is there any intelligent life form around us? Any presence of life, of intelligent? I guess these machines have some purpose, right? But definitely no presence of intelligent life form. So Kaelin's gonna make an observation. It's gonna tell. What if this is not in the future, but in the past, times of even before the Elven? I think Kaelin wants to recall some lore and see if she ever heard anything. Anyone's got history? Got 12 here on Kaelin. Salazar probably not. Yeah, she's the best on history. So I'm gonna baseline DC 14. I'm gonna check as expected. So yes, baseline DC 14. A check of lore to see if this could be actually in the past and not in the future, which is a bit of a stretch. And the roll is very bad, so she just presumes that without any strong facts. And they said Nazar is gonna answer, anything can be at this time. Let's look for a way to enter there. And they're gonna start looking for a way to enter because we've got, depends on skill to see if there's any clear entrances. So they're gonna walk around this area and find for entrances. So I'm gonna go for a modified proposal to see if anything is different and how. So there will be someone inconvenient to be brought as this happens. So the characters will be searching around this building. Let's go for a perception. I think the baseline will be difficulty 15 to find an entrance. And it says as expected, so yes, 15 would be the challenge to find a way in. Looks bad for Nazar, who doesn't find anything. Let's see, where is the perception? Oh, critical for Salazar, who might find an entrance. And a bad roll for Kaelin. So Salazar is gonna find, give me some looks. How does the entrance look like? Oops, wrong roll. It looks futuristic, so some sort of futuristic entrance. He sees like what seems to be a door on the floor that's fully made of metal as Salazar's own breastplate or scale armor. And he steps on it and he hears a clang. But we said there is going to be a modified proposal where we bring someone inconvenient here. So what's going to happen is when he steps on this clang, trying to kick this door and test it a little bit, it's going to immediately open. And when it opens it, a strong hush of air pushes upwards, and it's going to, the force of the air pressure is so strong that it's going to knock Salazar down. Let's see if he can remain standing up with a Constitution saving throw, difficulty 10. That's an 11, so it pushes him back. He slides backwards in the grasslands. And Kaelin and Nazar look on the right, and they see what kind of something inconvenient would be some sort of technological machine. Let's see. Let's go for what fighting style does it have. It's gonna be agile, fast, and nimble. So it's gonna be not one, but 3 small drones. Again, this is Dungeons and Dragons meets Numenera or futuristic, or who knows, maybe we are in the past world. The problem is I don't think I have in the bestiaries any kind of drone or machine. So I took a few minutes to make some research, and I found something interesting. I think there is a monster that we could use, and it's called a chasme or chasme. It's I don't know, I found it on the internet. Looks for some sort of drone or flying monster that's a robot, and I found this thing. A fly demon was a type of Tanari demon found in the abyss. Chasmes were horrid and disgusting hybrid of flies and humans who sucked blood and enjoyed tormenting and torturing their victims. And interestingly, I have here this part as the stats. It says a trait is a drone, produces horrid droning sound to which demons are immune. Any other creature that starts its turn with at 30 feet of the chasme must succeed on a DC 12 Constitution saving throw or fall unconscious for 10 minutes. This makes them quite powerful, of course, but it matches perfectly what we were looking for, some sort of drone that produces an hypnotizing music, and also it's vampiric, so better this impossible. So let me see. I am pasting here their stat blocks for reference. Good luck, guys. 3 of those, no wait, it's too many. I think 1 is fine because we said only 1 would open like some sort of metallic door on the ground will open, and one of these thing comes up. Let's go for initiative. Great, and the first one would be how do I reset the combat? The first turn of the initiative. Let me see, how do I see who's first? Salazar goes first. Great. Then let's go one turn behind. Yeah, Salazar acts first. He was pushed back by this strong force, and he's gonna... I think this thing looks very violent, and it looks like it wants to suck our blood. And this thing has AC, how much? 15 of natural armor and hit points 84. No way we're gonna play that. I'm gonna reduce that to somewhere maybe 20. Maybe that's even a lot, but 20 seems fine for a 3 against 1. I'm gonna fudge those stats, but this thing is pretty dangerous. So go for the attack. I'm gonna set here super quickly their stats so I could 12, 14, 11, and 10. It's gonna be able to attack with... How do I determine her armor class? Is there anywhere armor class? Oh, here. What a blind thing. How do I update this? My goodness. We said 2020. Armor class is natural armor 15. Movement, it can move about 20 feet, flying 60 feet. So walking 20, flying 60, that's a lot of movement. And I think that's all we need, right? For an attack, it can do melee weapon attack plus 5 to hit. 46 plus 2, yeah, no way this is gonna do this. I'm gonna take the Sturge as a reference and bring that thing over here. Yeah, that's much better. So let's go. This is how you improvise monsters in D&D. I had looked up the Sturge off screen because I was about to use that as a monster, so I pulled that attack. It's a much lower CR than this one. So Salazar attack. Come on. Spare. Attack. Normal attack. That's a 15, that's a hit. That's good. We need hits. With the spear, this thing has very strong natural armor, but Salazar finds a quick, like a blind spot inside its machinery, and there's some part that looks like more bland than the rest, and it pulls 8 damage to it, leaving it to 12. Next is gonna be... Who's next? Kaylin. Kaylin is gonna move toward the left and try to attack this thing as well. Does she have anything to attack? I guess she's gonna wear her longbow, but it's gonna be hard to attack this thing. That's half... Maybe it's gonna be probably half machine, half organic. They're gonna be some sort of weird thing. So she's also gonna take a look at that vulnerable point and go for it. With 14 doesn't hit. So the armor hits these insects, robotic or organic insect-like creature, and just fly by. Now Nazar is gonna try his best. He's got maybe a magic missile he was gonna use. Consuming 1 spell slot is gonna cause immediate damage on this thing. 1 magic missile from his hand, and it goes and impacts the thing that definitely doesn't like this. This thing has 7 hit points left now, but it's its turn. Which one did this monster like less? Just it's gonna fly, take some altitude, and choose at random one of these offenders, because all 3 of them attacked it. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 3. So it's gonna attack Nazar. This thing didn't like the missile. Now, let's see how this works. Oh, that's a bad hit. This thing is gonna sting its needle into Nazar's shoulder. It's gonna start blood sucking. Damage is d4 plus 2. That's gonna be a 6. Oh wow. Maximum damage, I guess. He begins feeling the blood being drained out of him. And I think if I take a look at the chasme effect, produces a horrid droning sound as well, to which demons are immune. Everybody must succeed a DC 12 Constitution or fall unconscious for 10 minutes. That I'm gonna call for. So everybody roll that. DC 12 Constitution save. Kaylin. She succeeds. Nazar. He succeeds. And Salazar. Does he succeed? 12, yes, that's right enough. DC 12 Constitution check. Everybody succeeds to resist this screaming thing. And the next turn is Salazar, who's gonna rush from the behind and try to stick his spear into it. What happened with the music? Yeah. He attacks. That's a miss. This thing kicks him with the leg, pushes him back. Next is Kaylin. Kaylin is gonna try with another arrow. She doesn't have any strong spells. She has... oh no, this is not Kaylin. She's got... yeah, nothing attacking. So yeah, longbow it is. Yes, that's a critical. She takes aim and aims at this vulnerable part of this beast. That's 7 damage, which is just enough to kill and destroy this beast. They all take a break now. They rush to evaluate this thing. What was it? Seems to be an insect. Not from our time, for sure. What do you mean an insect not of our time? Who knows? It seems to be fully armored, but the armor is part of its own body. This is not natural. And they look, and let's describe this a little bit more. Maybe some discovery roll to gain some additional information by Kaylin. She's gonna do nature test. To learn something about these creatures. She succeeds, so let's get a discovery. I don't know if discovery oracle works for this, but why not? Let's give it a try. Find a weakness or way in. So Kaylin studies this body. She turns around this insect-like creature, and it's made of what seems to be short-circuiting cables that emanate spark, and one doesn't need to be a future engineer to guess that that's probably dangerous to touch. That's electricity. And she takes a look and she says, if we see any other of these ones, we should aim at this part. It seems to. And she tries to take her arrow out of it without touching this metal. And she spots and shares with everybody a vulnerable point of these creatures. They look back again at the door where this came from. Is it still open? Yes, it's still open. Maybe we should take a look inside. What if there are more of those inside? It's the only shelter we have. This air is not easy to breathe. Let's take a look. And they decide to go for this bunker, opened door where the monster came from, and they take a look downside. Give me some descriptor. Seems to be peaceful and calm, but at the same separated or lonely. So there just seems to be a dark hole. And is there a way to just climb down? The answer is don't know, can't tell. So it's hard to tell from here. It looked like a very, very dark hole. And they look inside, and not even the light of the dim skies lighten much. It looks like deep. I don't know. I think maybe we should take a break first and catch up our breath. And Nazar was having a hard time. He was like bleeding from his shoulder. He says, yes, let's take a break first. They look around, and there seems to be an area full of trees. And he says, Kaylin says, let's go over there back on the trees. And these are like alien trees. Can you give me some description for these trees? They are beautiful and homogeneous. So they look like exactly the same kind of tree. And the same kind of leaves that are like purple, light bluish. Never seen anything like this before with long branches. Are they... Yeah, do they seem natural? Do they look... Do the trees look natural, or do they look artificial? No, they don't look natural, but they resemble of natural ones. If this is a world without real nature, I would start to be concerned. But yes, I agree, it is the safest place we can go to. So I'm gonna check for a modified proposal. How is the scene when we go back? We're gonna deal with some unexpected bad news as we arrive, alright. But as we arrive, these trees begin agitating their leaves, and everybody looks behind. Not looks behind, but steps back a little bit in shock. What are they doing? Perhaps they don't like others to come nearby. So much for a shelter. Do you think they would attack us? Do they seem like aggressive or they just agitate? Do they look like aggressive? Yes, absolutely. So they begin shaking their leaves, and the arms that are branches actually have much more control and flexibility than they originally thought, and they are clearly indicating or giving the feeling that as the character step in forward, it's definitely not welcoming them. So much for shelter. What else do we see? They look around. Let me get I mean, staying here in the open would not be very smart. We need some sort of cover. Maybe we can look for some rocks or something, at least to take a break. And yes, there are indeed some rocks in the ground, and they look for it and go there and take a breath. So they all earn a short rest, but the only one who needs it is Nazar, while the others will take guard and be careful about what's going on around them. Nazar heals just 3 hit points and takes a break. Around them, what's going on around them? Let's get some what do they want to do actually? They need to explore this place and find any sort of explanation, but now that they have the time, they're going to have to try and understand a little bit better. What is this world about? What is going on here? So they take the time to observe. And how does it look like, really? What's the impression we have around this place? Let's go for maybe some discovery. That's not something we want to discover. Maybe insight is better. I'm gonna delete this one. Yeah, we still feel this smell atmospheric hazard, which obviously shown up a few times already. So staying outdoors is not the best idea. So having said that, I think they will want to get inside the shelter, this only building where they saw this insect coming. So they come back to it and go inside this hole. They took a look around, and Nazar will cast a spell, a light, to be able to show the inside. So once Nazar casts a spell in the dark hole, what do we see? Give me a place. Hazardous or atmospheric area. Yes, everything is hazardous in this place. Give me a description. It's very small. So they see a small tube, something very round and circular, and on this surroundings, on the surface of this tube, they see hard grip. So they could technically climb down if they are careful enough, as the curve isn't fully vertical, but take some sort of some sort of flattening curvature that they can take and climb inside. So they all go inside and they think, are you sure this is a good idea? Well, coming to an entire new place through a portal wasn't exactly a good idea. Now we are here. That's all we can do. So they climb down. Salazar will go first, Kaelin in the middle, and Nazar at the end. And they come through. And let's go for random prompt to see what would happen next in the game. Make progress to solve a pending question. Okay, that's good. Does the other side want to attack us? Are we safe? So we're gonna learn something in this direction. After crossing by these tubes, they all enter in a room, in a facility underground room, where 8 of these chasme monsters are hanging on the wall in some sort of spherical container made of glass and some yellowish liquid. And it gives the impression they are being grown up here, like grown vats or something. What else is there? Is it like a futuristic, like does it look, are there machines or computers or something equivalent? It depends on the skill. So we see some devices that seem to be doing something, but the characters don't really understand what they are. They have like multiple tubes connected to these vat growing containers full of liquid and something. Let's get a modified proposal to see how we get introduced to this area. So we bring someone quite inconvenient, all right. Is it someone intelligent at least? Or is it going to be just another creature? No, it's not an intelligent life form, okay. Is it another chasme? Definitely not. So there's something non-intelligent, non-chasme. I guess we're gonna need another creature, maybe the organic form of the chasme or the actual stirges. So we're gonna bring this one stirge to this room flying, and it goes directly to attack Salazar. I think we're entitled to some reflex roll and a short combat over here. Why does everybody seem to want to attack us? And oops, I'm gonna roll initiative again, sorry. Yeah, and Kaylin begins first. So Kaylin is the first one seeing this stirge coming. She's gonna ready her longbow and do a fast shot. Yeah, go for it. It's gonna miss. Next is going to be Salazar, who's gonna react even before this monster. And it's going to attack it. Why can't it attack? I don't know. Here we go. Oh, it's not equipped. Sorry. Oh, I didn't see the pop-up. This is the issue. Silly me. That's a critical. Great. Salazar is gonna aim for this body, the body of this stirge, and it's gonna cause 13 damage to this thing that has only 2 health points. It's gonna smash it and end the combat super quickly. What the hell was this? Seemed to be a more organic life form. More organic than the one that we saw outside. This is not good. Are they building an army here of monsters? Perhaps. We said Ilona died in an attack against a vampiric life form. This could have been it. Probably. But It's strange who is orchestrating all of these experiments. Do we see doors around us? Or something that resembles a door? No, at least not yet. So the full room is fully closed. There's only this tube that goes upside and these ununderstandable devices that they are fully alien to us. So they investigate a little bit on these machines. And now it's a good time for a discovery. What do we learn, perhaps? I don't know if this will make sense here as well. To find a clue or a lead, okay? What about it? Let's get a focus. A gem, a jewelry or gem. So the characters investigate these machinery devices doing things with the liquid and the vat growing. Monsters or chasme monsters on these containers. And they seem to see a stone inside, a gem in one of the operating devices. It's red and it's shining. Everybody looks at it. I think Kaylin would want to do a detect magic. She's gonna use detect magic. Try, it's one of her prepared spells to see if this thing is magical. Yeah, is it magic or not? Let's get the answer. Is it a magical or emanating gem? Yes. Finally, at least something that's not fully technological. This gem seems to be of magical nature. All right, then Kaylin will step forward and try to grab it and try to extract it and remove it. Does something happen? Something happened after removing the gem? No, not really, but it's a weak no, so nothing really happens in terms of, in case of like nothing bad happens, but some of the electronical liquids and other devices around there make some sort of noise, of interruption noise, like everything starts vibrating, but then everything comes to halt. Good, that looks like at least seem to have made some sort of effect, right? Seems like. Hopefully at least we're gonna disable this thing. Less of those flying monsters will come to us. Indeed. Indeed. Since nothing happens, they're gonna just look around to see if they learn anything else. Is there anything else to learn? Yes, there is something for now that it's to be learned. What exactly? Focus what? Secrets and plots. Right, let's go for another discovery. Key location. Alright, so they continue to look around and they seem to identify some sort of display that it's like weekly pulsating light and certain dots appear in it. The first impression that everybody gets is that this is some sort of map, and the dot that was blinking, they just look at it very quickly because this is for now, and it stops blinking. Nazar is gonna say, I guess the blinking thing was us. After you remove the gem. That's probably not good. That might mean anybody else, if it's controlling this, could be aware of us. That's not good. What about the others? How many are they? So let's ask, how many of these dots are there? 6. Amount is expected. So I would expect, I don't know, 5, 6 maybe. So yeah, 5, 6 of these. Do they follow a pattern? I would say so. They follow some sort of circular pattern, this blinking dot. So maybe there are more of these bunkers then, or more of these underground shelters. Perhaps we can explore them and see if we find anything. Sounds like a plan, but we are going to leave that for the next session. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. So one reflection, it's very hard to play, of course, without knowing much about the region, because we're in some other dimension, so that makes it quite hard. So we are stressing plot unfolding machine very hard in these circumstances. What I would say is to avoid rolling on the oracle so much. So I would say make things up will make a story a bit more consistent than if you rely on the oracle so much. I did use the oracles a lot, but it's because I'm really not sure, not knowing what's going to happen. But if I had a chance or more context, I would make something up. So the next time, if I can, I'm going to try to project forward, thinking what could be this story about. And what I'm thinking is there's going to be some sort of monster factory going on, and someone's going to be behind this. At least that's my hypothesis around this. So in the next session, I'm going to think about figuring out who's behind this machinery and why are they doing this. But I would like it also to have some more of intelligence, life form. So next time I'm not going to ask that to the oracle, but rather decide there might be some intelligent life form. So unfortunately in this game there was no NPCs to interact with other than attacking monsters. And yeah, this Numenera Dungeons Dragons things, it's a bit of a stretch for Dungeons and Dragons as well. I would like to use more monsters that are in the game, but it's what it was, and I'm not controlling the plot. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this game, and until the next one.